Welcome to another episode of How to Make Dinner. I'm Paula and I'm making beans. Again. I know I just did a bean episode like 2 or 3 episodes ago, but what can I say? It's winter and beans are delicious and they're cozy and they're cheap and you can always have them on hand and they can go into so many things. Today I'm showing you how to cook some beans from scratch and make them taste really, really good right from the get-go so that you can incorporate them into your week, into salads and soups and bits and pieces here and there, and really just make the most out of your beans. I'm using lima beans today, which are kind of a controversial bean. I don't know if you ever watched a show called You Can't Do That on Television. It was on in the 90s. I don't know if it was maybe just a Canadian show, but there was this running joke about lima beans being terrible. And so I always think about that whenever I think about lima beans, but they're not terrible. They're actually really great. And you can get these big ones, or you can also get baby lima beans, which are really nice and tender. And they're great and they're huge, which makes them really extra hearty and you can really sink your teeth into them. To make these things taste great, first I soak them overnight in the fridge. I started with about 1 cup of dried beans and then added about 1 liter of water on top of that, and then let them sit in the fridge overnight uncovered. In the morning, they've absorbed all that water and they fill that whole 1 liter jug, which is great. And then just chuck those into the Instant Pot with about another liter of water, plus a teaspoon of salt, a couple of bay leaves, a couple of sticks of celery, were just broken up, and an onion that I kind of peeled and quartered, and some garlic. Set the timer for 9 minutes and do a manual release when the time is up. When the time's up and you've let go of all that pressure, you're gonna end up with a really, really nice pot of super brothy, flavorful beans with a really nice flavorful liquid. And so we're gonna use the beans and the liquid today. You can pull out the big hunks of celery and the bay leaves and stuff, but honestly, if there's some bits of onion and garlic that just kind of get mushed in with the beans, I'm cool with that. It just kind of dissolves and makes it really nice. So what are we gonna do with these now? First up, we're gonna make some beans on toast. I'm a huge fan of beans on toast, even like the Heinz baked beans on toast. I love it. I've always loved it since I was a little kid. But these beans are obviously a little bit more homemade, a little bit jazzed up. So I'm just gonna take a couple of spoonfuls of the beans out of the liquid, and if a little bit of the brothy liquid gets into the bowl too, that's totally awesome because it just makes everything a little bit more nice. And then I drizzle in a little bit of olive oil, a pinch of salt, a pretty big pinch of fresh parsley, and a splash of either some sherry vinegar or a squeeze of lemon or something like that. And then just toss that together. And you've got a nice beany, brothy, oily topping for your toast. And the only thing better than beans on toast is avocado and beans on toast. And since I had a bit of avocado lying around, I thought I would smush that onto my toast first. And then I just spooned the beans over top and finished with a little bit of chili oil because I can't resist. And this is the most perfect midday snack or dinner or lunch or whatever. I work from home, so this is the perfect thing for me in the middle of the day. I can put the beans on in the morning and I'm good. Next, I'm gonna use these beans in a very simple but very refreshing salad. To me, a perfect salad has a mix of lots of different things. It has something crunchy like nuts. It has something crispy like lettuce or celery. It has, or both. It has something sweet from like fruit or raisins or something like that. And it has something kind of wholesome and hearty like beans. And these ones, because they've been cooked the way we cooked them, are extra flavorful. So it's so much better than just getting them out of the can and chucking them in. For this salad, I had a little bit of romaine, a little bit of celery. I added in a chunk of some apple. I had a carrot that I just peeled, but then I just continued to peel to make it kind of in long strips to toss that in. Threw in some tamari almonds, the beans, of course, and a little bit of sherry vinegar and olive oil and salt. And then I just tossed all that together and dumped a whole bunch of nutritional yeast on top because you know I love my nutritional yeast. Lastly, I'm gonna use the rest of these beans and the broth to kind of bulk up this really lovely fresh pea soup, green pea soup. Nothing is easier than this soup. Basically, I took a couple of onions, a stick of celery, a little bit of olive oil and salt, sweated that down in a pot for about 5 minutes. And then I added the beans and a couple of bay leaves, as well as some frozen peas and some fresh thyme. I love fresh thyme here. Fresh thyme and peas just go really, really well together. And then I threw in all that bean broth, which is extra good because it's got all the flavor of the beans and the salt and the bay leaves and everything we cooked the beans in. It's like gold, this stuff. And then I just simmered that for about 10 minutes until everything was soft, gave it a good blend, and then finished it with a little sour cream, and it was absolutely perfect. So yeah, look at all these great things we can do with a pot of beans. I mean, it's just the beginning. I feel like we could do a bunch more bean episodes. Maybe I'll wait now because we've done a lot so far, but beans are the best. And if you're gonna do a pot of beans, just do a pot of beans and fill them with tons of flavor. Don't be afraid of salt. I know that there's a myth out there that salt toughens the skins and so you should season them later, but it kind of doesn't, and it makes them taste good all the way to the middle. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you cook some beans. Let me know how it goes. If you're a subscriber to this channel, I will definitely see you next week, and if you're not, maybe you should consider subscribing. Or if you don't like subscribing but you want to know whenever I release a new episode, you can always join my email list, which I'll link to below. The email list is great. It's a nice way to connect, and all I really do is send you an email once a week letting you know that there's a new episode or a new blog post and filling you into any other updates that you might be interested in. So it's a fun place to be. So I'll see you next week.